Hello there guys, welcome back to Younes Talks Football. I hope all of you are doing well as we get into the midst of the chaos. Actually, it's not even get into, we're already in it and we're not leaving until tomorrow. Because tomorrow is deadline day and we're going to be here for deadline day, especially towards the end. So make sure you're glued to the channel because there will be content dropping throughout the day. We might even end the deadline day with a live stream, depending on what's going on as well, because we still have no idea what's going to happen. We are now, yesterday it was 46 hours. Now we've got the best part of, I want to say 30, 35, 36 hours, somewhere around there left. Time's ticking. So where have we gotten to today? Let's get into it without further ado, because Chelsea are already putting contingency plans in place, and it looks like we're already looking elsewhere just in case if we're able to get a move. Is a move happening for Jackson? Is it not? Let's get right into it. Here's the latest from David Ornstein earlier today. Starting off with exclusive, Chelsea considering signing striker before deadline. Chelsea not allowing Nicholas Jackson loan, but permanent possible. Lack of loan replacements means permanence being explored. Inquiries made for Conrad Harder of Sporting and others. Now the thing about this is that we've not been told who the others are. No idea. But Conrad Harder is a name that we're getting today. And Conrad Harder, I remember we did have a small link with ages ago. I think at the very beginning of the window. In fact, I think we were linked with him even last season. But Conrad Harder is an option. We're going to get to that very, very shortly. But there's also someone else. Here it is. Chelsea have considered Conrad Harder. Another option is to try and cancel Marc Guiu's loan at Sunderland. So that's an option that came to mind straight away, to be honest. I was like, okay, what about Marc Guiu? He's at Sunderland. Can we just call him back? You know, job done. But at the same time, the whole point of his loan to Sunderland was to get him to play. In this case, he still wouldn't be playing as much, but I mean, he would play a bit because we've got Delap out for a long time. And by the way, I haven't got this to show you, but Delap is having a scan again tomorrow, I think, where that's being done because the fear is that he's going to miss out for longer than 6 to 8 weeks. So he could be out for a very long time. Delap might be gone for 3 to 4 months, which is flipping crazy. I say 3 months, probably 3 months, but then you have to add that little bit more to get back to proper match fitness completely. Such a shame, such a shame. And it's a hamstring as well. This is probably the worst type of hamstring you can get then. Unbelievable. Anyway, so that's that, which means now we've got to really look, you know, not long term, but long term enough, you know, past the short term. This has gone past the short, that's for sure. There's one thing to consider as well, is that by the time we get to the point where it seems like Delap could be coming back and then we got to play it by ear, if we were to get Nicholas Jackson back, he could be heading off to AFCON, because AFCON starts in December, Christmas time. So, just saying. That's a very important point to make there, by the way. So, Marc Guiu, Conrad Harder, that's the options that we're looking at as of today. Conrad Harder would be a good acquisition to get in for this situation. And why? People are looking at Conrad Harder. I've seen some people, and I said this yesterday, but as a joke, and I hope you guys clocked onto that. You guys should know me by now. When I was like, oh, you know, go and get Isak. Let's get Isak. We're not going to get Isak. In fact, we should, well, I mean, I'd take Isak tomorrow. But we are already in a situation where we have picked the centre forwards we are going to move forward with. That is João Pedro and that is Liam Delap. Liam Delap is now injured. The whole point of being prepared for something like that was to make sure we have a third striker in place, which we didn't. And shout out Matisse, he's the one who's been rambling on about that. And I do agree. I do agree. It's always, I think, especially when you're playing 4 competitions, to have a third striker there. We were under the impression, though, that another forward signing that we would bring in could play as the third option just in case, which we've not actually done yet. You know, whether it was going to be Morgan Rogers, if you remember. Whether it was even going to be Xavi Simons, maybe. That's not happened. And now we're in the situation where we're like, okay, we actually don't have anyone to fill in as a third option. We actually do need a third option. Now that Delap is injured, we need someone to come in and just fill in the gap. So when I've seen calls of people that mention, you know what, okay, in that case, let's go and get Jamie Vardy, who, by the way, is not happening because he's on his way to Italy. Big up to Jamie. He's going to go and soak up some sun. But Jamie Vardy, look, at his time, Jamie Vardy was class, man. I mean, top tier striker, proper number 9, right? But he's 38 years old. We have to be realistic. Jamie Vardy isn't going to be someone that's going to keep up with the level, the highest level in the Premier League now. He just won't. Forget it. You know, unless you're Cristiano Ronaldo, which he's not. You know, Jamie Vardy's having a party. Bring your vodka and your Charlie and all of that. You know, you know what type of guy and player Jamie Vardy is. He's a Sunday League baller. He's not someone that's going to be thinking, oh, you know what? No, I can't. No, I'm gonna have to miss this one, lads. I can't come out of a drink with you lot because I'm gonna go and do my recovery. He's gonna be like, I can recover tomorrow. Send it over. Come on. If you're Cristiano Ronaldo, though, where you're 40 years old and then they do a test on your body and they say that biologically you've still got the body of a 28-year-old, yes, that's a different story. And that's actually true, by the way. Go and look that up. So that's the situation. We can't go in for a 38-year-old. But we need someone that can come in that isn't going to expect to play every week, but is going to be happy with that role, but is going to provide what we need out of them. Right, he's going to be there to fill in and do a decent job. Conrad Harder, who is quite young as well, he's 20 if I'm not mistaken, is someone that can fill that gap. When you see him play for Sporting Lisbon, he's only been into the Sporting Lisbon team for a certain amount of time. He's not been, you know, he's young. He was in the youth setup prior. He's had one season last season where he was properly within Sporting Lisbon, especially now with the departure of Gyökeres, he's been pushed up a bit. But that is the sort of guy that you might think, you know what, as a third striker to have in the squad, yeah, he might actually have a point to prove. And he might really try and give it his all. But know that he's not the number one guy. We got João Pedro, who's the number one guy. Delap is there now, but he's injured now. That's where we got to pay our attention to. So Conrad Harder, depending on the price, I just have to stress this, depending on the price, he can't be expensive. We're not looking up for a blockbuster movie. Could be a very good option. At the same time, bringing back Marc Guiu on loan means that for the time that Delap is out, we'll have 3 strikers. João Pedro, Conrad Harder, Marc Guiu. I'm all for that. We need that. And then by the time Delap comes back, that January, we can consider Marc Guiu to go off on a loan again. And then we'll have 3 strikers. We'll have João Pedro, Liam Delap, Conrad Harder. We might actually be sorted at that point. So that all depends on Nicholas Jackson departing first. So what's going on with Nico? Well, here's the latest from Florian Plettenberg as well this morning. Nicholas Jackson and Ali Barat are still in Munich. Together with FC Bayern, they are pushing to keep the loan deal alive. Fresh talks with Chelsea are also set to take place this morning as Jackson wants to sign for Bayern. The deal is still on hold, not off. So Jackson is very eager. Nicholas Jackson and agent Ali Barat have stayed in Munich to try and find a solution to revive his Bayern move. Chelsea informed Jackson to return after Delap's hamstring injury. Permission to undergo a medical has been revoked and talks will continue this morning. We then got from David Ornstein, as things stand, Chelsea expect Jackson to rejoin head coach Enzo Maresca's first-team squad. They are, however, studying contingency plans for the event of suitable proposals arriving prior to Monday's trading deadline. Deadline day's tomorrow. We have to move fast. We have to move at lightning speed. Decisions have to be made today, so then there's things in place tomorrow in order to get a player down to London to do a medical and get things sorted. This has to be quick. We're going to find out loads by tonight. So make sure you're here for tonight because there will be video number 2, maybe even 3. Who knows at this point? We might be up all night. But Florian Plettenberg gives us more in relation to Conrad. Finding a replacement for Nicholas Jackson is part of the ongoing talks to allow Jackson to still sign for FC Bayern. Conrad Harder is one of the candidates who has been approached as reported by The Athletic and confirmed. However, Leipzig are also pushing and plan to fly him in today. Chelsea have offered Bayern the option of signing Jackson permanently instead of a loan. Leipzig are interested, but Leipzig I'm going to come to later on. Hold that thought. Hold that thought. There's more. So just keep that in the pipeline. Matt Law says Bayern may now have to commit to an obligation to sign Jackson permanently or negotiate a permanent signing immediately to revive the deal in this window. The striker does not want to return to Chelsea. And like I said yesterday, you can go and watch that video from yesterday. I don't blame him. I don't blame him. You know, I think even personally for his own career, Bayern Munich would be better for him. I mean, at Chelsea, he still wouldn't be number 1. So I understand where he's coming from, and with the way that all this has gone down, he's been sold a dream here. Yeah, he's been rug pulled. Any crypto enthusiasts in the house, he's been rug pulled, fully rug pulled. You know, you thought you were on a winner, and then boom, everything's gone. It's all disappeared. What? It's just, I actually feel for him a bit. But here's more. Chelsea considering a move for Sporting's Conrad Harder as they assess late window striker options following Delap's hamstring injury. It comes as Nicholas Jackson insists on joining Bayern. Chelsea are open to a permanent sell. Failing that, Chelsea want Jackson to return and have revoked his permission to undergo a medical. Jackson and agent Ali Barat remain in Munich. Harder interest isn't new. 20-year-old was looked at in February, as Alex Crook revealed. Attempting to cancel Marc Guiu's Sunderland loan hasn't been discounted, although requires buy-in from all sides. This is a very important point to make as well, because apparently in relation to Marc Guiu, there was no clause in there to end the loan whenever we want, apparently. So we might have to pay Sunderland some money, which doesn't help. But anyway. Chelsea's position on Jackson and buying is clear. If you want him, buy him. That's straight up from Sky Sports. We are looking to try and sell the player, not have him on a loan anymore. The loan is dead. So now we're in a situation where we have to try and get Bayern Munich to accept to buy. If they give an indicator that they can buy, and they're going to, boom, go and get a striker permanently. And that's going to be Conrad Harder, it seems. There's other options too, don't know. Now, some people are also saying, and I understand, go and get Mateta. Go and get Wissa, who we're going to talk about shortly. Go and get... There are strikers in the Premier League, but these are strikers that are playing as number one strikers at their clubs in the Premier League to then come to Chelsea to be seen as a third choice. They're not going to accept. It's, at this point, a waste of time. And on top of that, you're dealing with Premier League clubs. Premier League clubs that are going to demand high fees. Crystal Palace right now to sell Mateta, what, you think they're going to do that for 25 mil? No chance. They're going to be like, Mateta, 65 million, please. And we're going to be like, you're kidding. But that's the market. Because they're Premier League. If this was abroad, where money is a little less at the moment, they might be a little desperate. And you can get players on the cheap. And that is what we need to do right now, because Jackson needs to be either taken on an obligation, which should have been done in the first place, or he needs to be sold immediately, and we generate the money immediately to bring in a third choice option, someone that can come in and fill in. So Conrad Harder, could he be that guy? And to be honest, Conrad Harder, when I look at the player, his style, he seems like he looks quick in his decision making. I have to not lie, he does look a little raw, but he does seem like the sort of striker that is able to pull the trigger on a quick finish, which means he gets the ball and boom, he knows exactly where he's putting it. And that is, for me, a very important thing in a striker. So I don't think we would be so disappointed. He looks a little bit strong too. He looks a little bit of a unit. Not the tallest, but he's a unit. So I do think Conrad, as an option, not as our main striker, could actually go down well. Let's wait and see. Now, that's Nicholas Jackson. That's Conrad Harder. That's Marc Guiu. We'll see what transpires by tonight, because we're definitely going to get new information by tonight. So make sure you guys are here. About Lopez. This doesn't want to die. Here's the latest out of Barca. So Barcelona President Laporta refuses to answer questions on Fermin Lopez's future, as he was taken out of his car and I'm assuming went into, I don't know, a hotel or a restaurant, or I don't know where the hell he was going. But it's a restaurant. Actually, it was a restaurant in Madrid. He did not answer. And on top of that, we also got this. Chelsea have yet to receive a response from Barcelona after offering 35 million for Fermin Lopez. Barca are believed to want over 52 million for him. Barca, hello? Can you answer, please? Deadline day is tomorrow. Can you let us know what you want? Or are you happy with this? Or do you want to sell? Is the player joining? Is he not? Does he want to go? Does he not? Can you give us an answer? Because time's ticking, yeah? If it's no, tell us no now, please. Simple. If it's yes, hurry up. So there's that. Now, that's the latest on Lopez. We still don't know. For me, I'm still confused on this whole Lopez thing. I don't know how this is all happening. I'm like I said last night, I'm genuinely confused. So a little bit more time, we might get more clarity. Now, one of the options that David Ornstein might have been talking about, aside from Conrad Harder, could be what Florian Plettenberg has mentioned here, which is this. Chelsea also discussed Randall Kolo Muani, but he still wants to join Juventus. Okay. Kolo Muani, no. Like I've said, for the reason that I just gave, we've already made our decision on who we're moving forward with. We're not looking to get in a new number one striker. We've already got who we've got in. João Pedro's the guy that's trusted, and Delap is the guy to support and also be an alternative number 9. We're done. But as an option, yeah, Kolo Muani is not going to come in as an option or as an alternative, or as a third striker, no. And for the fee that we'd have to pay, no. Even salary would probably be a little bit high, just no. So yeah, forget that. That's not happening, you best believe, especially by tomorrow. It's way too soon. Forget it. Going back to Leipzig. I said, hold that thought. Well, let's talk about Leipzig. Pay attention, because this means something. Club-to-club talks between Leipzig and Juventus regarding Lois Openda are ongoing. As previously reported, Leipzig are open to a permanent sale or a loan with a mandatory option under realistic conditions, including coverage of his salary. Price valuation, more than 40 million euros. Other clubs are also monitoring the situation. Leipzig's clear number 1 target for the attack, Conrad Harder. The club have a basic agreement on personal terms with the Danish striker. So, I'm mentioning this and why. Because Bayern Munich's alternative option at striker was Openda. So this is something to watch. This is something to watch. Because not everyone's going to get their man here. Or maybe. No, actually, no. Leipzig would miss out. Leipzig would miss out. And yeah, if Jackson ends up at Bayern Munich, right? We sell. Great. We have money. We now want Harder. We get Harder. But then Leipzig don't get Harder. They might just be stuck with Openda. At that point, do you know what I mean? Some would argue, you know what? Why don't we just go and get Openda then? I think, look, it'll probably be Harder. But we have to move quick because Leipzig and Harder have already moved forward. So this is what I'm saying. Tonight is going to be a very interesting night. I don't think we're going to get everything clarified tomorrow. I think we're going to get some clarity tonight and then it's going to go into tomorrow and then we're going to see how deadline day goes. So this is going to be a very interesting end. Worst case scenario for us is that we end up with Jackson coming back and he's peed off. And he's just walking into Cobham going, I don't want to be here. And then God knows, at that point, is he going to give 100%? Is he not? Is he going to play with an attitude? Is he not? I mean, I reckon he would. I don't think he's going to go down the Chalobah route, I'll be honest. There was even word coming out last night from his family in Senegal that he is really angry. He does not want to come back to Chelsea. And look, all things considered, yeah, because I've been quite critical on the player. Many others have been quite critical on the player. I'm not saying he's a bad player. He's not a bad player. But as a centre forward that I need to get goals from, for me, I just don't see it happening. Even some people are still going, oh, you know what, he might come back and bang. No, I don't think he will. And each to their own opinion. But when I look, and I have to be fair, from his perspective, it's not worked out as well as everyone wants. He's struggled overall to really hit the levels that he and everyone wanted him to hit. He has an opportunity to go to a quote-unquote easier league with more space and more time, where I think he would thrive in a Bayern Munich team where it's come out that he was thinking long in terms of taking Harry Kane's place down the road when Harry Kane steps out of the way. And that's a good vision to have. And that's something that Jackson's definitely capable of. But in Germany, not in the Premier League. And this is where, if he's really, really wanting to go to Bayern Munich and now he's angry because that's getting taken away from him, I totally understand. I totally understand, and I completely get where he's coming from. You know? Especially with not just criticism, but how it's all gone at Chelsea. He's probably looked and gone, no, you know what? I don't want to go back there. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Me in his shoes, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. You know? But now, the thing is that, like many people have argued, he's under contract. If you end up back at Chelsea, he's just going to have to perform. That's just the truth. He's just going to have to put his head down. Is he going to, though? I think he might try. I don't think he will, though. You know? It's one thing trying, but it's another thing actually executing it. Chalobah was someone that was able to. I don't think Jackson would do the same thing. But anyway, we'll wait and see what happens. By tomorrow, we'll get our answers. So make sure you guys are glued here, subscribe, notification bell on. Let's move to a couple of matters elsewhere before we wrap up. Brentford. Younes Wissa statement on his desire to join Newcastle immediately. This is long. I'm not reading all of this. Yeah, look how long this is. This is an essay. I mean, I'm not. Basically, he's gone, listen, Brentford and the fans, like, I love you lot and all of that, but me and Brentford have spoken about all of this for a little while and they know where I stand, so please let me leave because we kind of agreed and I need to go to Newcastle now, so can you just let it please happen because I don't want to stay anymore. And the longer that I stay, the more this is going to get tarnished. So let's just end it here so I can go to the tune, please. And Brentford fans, I'm sorry, but I love you lot. Cheers, and talk to you later. Basically, in a nutshell, that is what he said. I find two things here. First thing, it's hilarious. There's a trend starting to show up of players that are under contracts that are all starting to just move for themselves, right? They're like, screw the contract. I want to go there. Yeah? Let me move. Now, you see what I said last week? What did I say? Contracts don't mean a thing. Contracts don't mean a thing anymore. Yes, they're there legally, but they're there to protect the club and there to protect the player. That's all. It's not a loyalty thing. When people look at a contract and go, oh yeah, no, that's it, we've got him locked down. No, it doesn't guarantee the loyalty of the player. Back in the day, yes, a contract was a contract. Now, a contract is a case of, no, okay, look, the club have a player, no one can touch him. The player has a job, no one can touch him. Great, fantastic. We're both secure. That's all it is. But it doesn't mean you can't get out of it. Oh, I want to go to that club. Oh, I'm going to force a move. I'm going on strike. I ain't playing. And then the club are like, oh, crap, what do we do now? All right, screw it. Let him go. But we want money. And then that's all it is. That's all it means. But there's a trend now of players that are starting to make their own decisions, and it's getting a little bit out of control, right? But I find it ironic. The second point, I find it ironic that Newcastle are going in for a player that is now doing exactly what Isak is doing, yet Newcastle are trying to look strong and go, oh no, but we want to keep Isak. How ironic. This is why Isak will move to Liverpool, and Newcastle will allow that. And then Newcastle will go and get Wissa, and Brentford will allow it. Because no one wants to keep an unhappy player. And this is why now, even in Chelsea's interest, it's best to just try and get Jackson sold. Because who knows, we might have created our own Isak here. You know, and to be fair to the player, in this case, Jackson's actually got a point. Because Jackson was sold a dream. Chelsea made it look like, yeah, no, you're gone. See you later. And Jackson didn't ask to leave. He found a situation where he might have to leave, and he's like, all right, I'll go then. So it's a different case for a different kettle of fish for Jackson. But we might have created our own Isak. But Wissa, oh boy. Newcastle might be getting rid of one guy that makes his own decisions, and they might be getting in another guy that makes his own decisions. So let's see how this one's going to transpire. But we'll keep our eyes peeled. Liverpool have until tomorrow to get Isak done, by the way. So they need to And this is why I said deadline day. I think they're going to wait until the last moment to put Newcastle's backs against the wall. When Newcastle are like, oh crap, it's 130 million now or nothing. Screw it, take it. That's what I think Liverpool are going to wait for. Because they know. And they're not in a position where they absolutely must. They're not desperate. Newcastle, though, are a bit desperate right now. They've got Ekitike. Newcastle don't. So it's a situation. Let's wait and see. Man United, to wrap up with, have pulled off something that I didn't expect, but here it is. Man United have agreed personal terms with Emiliano Martinez and approached Aston Villa. As exclusively revealed this morning, Dibu is back as concrete option for United if Lemens deal doesn't happen. Talks well underway now. This is actually decent for United. You know? That's mental. Martinez is a good goalkeeper. Definitely better than Onana. That's not even a mate. My mate down the road's better than Onana. This is something that Man United have to do. And fair play, they're taking action in that department. Is it still enough? No. But it's at least they sort this out. So let's see if it's actually going to happen though. Because yeah, personal terms all done. It seems like they've agreed and all of that. Fantastic. But are Aston Villa going to let him go? Aston Villa are going to need someone to come in for him. You know, as a replacement. It's all going to kick off by tomorrow, let me tell you. Deadline day is going to be a treat. And this window has been absolutely unbelievable. It's been chaos left, right and centre. So let's see what tomorrow holds in store. We might get a nuclear war kicking off tomorrow. And then we're just going to have to wait for all the dust to settle after that. So let me know your thoughts down below. Much appreciated. Subscribe, notification bell on. I will catch you lot tonight for more, as I'm sure it's all going to kick off. I'll catch you then. Look after yourself. See you later. Take care and peace.